Hey guys, Woody the Unexceptional Gamer playing some Arms Race, but I've got a lot to talk about, mostly Xbox stuff. First thing I wanted to address was this always on thing. So the story dropped a day or two ago that Microsoft never had any intention of doing an always on requirement for single player games. If you don't know, the industry's been trending that way. EA just got into a lot of trouble for doing it with SimCity. I think they did it with Assassin's Creed, correct me if I'm wrong. But companies want you to be online so that they can prove that you're not stealing their stuff, right? That's basically it. They don't want you to pirate their games. And I understand where they're coming from, but, you know, the servers on their side need to be real reliable for it to work well. My internet connection needs to be real reliable, and whose internet connection is really that reliable that it works as well as something that doesn't have that requirement. It's just more points of failure. It's a worse experience. It helps them. It hurts us, and we don't like it. Anyway, originally, Microsoft said, you know, there was this always-on thing, and they had patents and new anti-DRM stuff, and I get that. And then they came out, and someone who worked there was like, yeah, people don't like it, but they'll have to deal with it. And there was this big backlash. And then they said, well, it's more of a developer preference. You know, some developers can require it to always be on, you know, the internet connection, checking in, make sure you're not pirating. And some developers might choose not to implement that. Well, just recently they've come out, and they've said that, you know, there's a bunch of things people expect to be able to do without an internet connection. That includes watching Blu-rays, single player, etc. And it almost seems like, oh, that rumor wasn't true. It's false. Don't worry about it. Bullshit. That rumor was true. It was totally true. It was in the patents. You guys like made a bunch of references to it. That was going to happen. And they've changed their mind based on what I'm going to call internet backlash. Which is fine. Responding to what customers want isn't necessarily the behavior of a bad company, right? That's behavior of a good company. But they're changing it, and I feel like there's this notion like, Microsoft was good all along. We had them wrong. Dude, we didn't have them wrong. They just filed a new patent. Check out this patent. It'll use Kinect to monitor how many people are in the room. And then when you watch movies in your living room, it'll monitor how many people are watching it. And if someone else enters the room potentially, then they can start charging you for more people, right? So if you rent it and just watch it by yourself, you might pay one price. If you watch it with your wife and kids, you could pay a higher price. That's where they're headed. The idea that Microsoft is somehow pulling out patents on Kinect bullshit like that, but they never had any intention of protecting, you know, developers and you know, anti-piracy measures. No. Dude, it was going to happen. And the internet backlash sort of pushed them off that idea, and now it's not going to happen. So that's a good thing. Or it may be that the thing about developers choosing whether it happens or not is still true. And some games will have it and some games won't. We'll see. But I'm not buying this notion that it wasn't true from the start. Next up, Xbox Fusion. So, Microsoft took out the domain name xboxfusion.com. If you go there, and look, I never saw that tech insert. I was blind to it. If you go to xboxfusion.com right now, it will redirect you to Xbox Live. So, that's interesting. Xbox Fusion. So, I've seen it mentioned that Xbox Fusion is going to be the name of the next generation Xbox, right? So the rumors are Xbox 720, Xbox Infinity, and Xbox Fusion. Durango, if you've heard that, is the code name. It was used internally. It's what they call it before they figure out what the actual name is. I'm not so sure. If you go to xboxfusion.com, it redirects you to Xbox Live. So it's a thing, right? It's going to exist. I just don't know what it's really going to be. It could be the name of the next Xbox. That's true, and it really is a Microsoft thing. But, you know, Fusion means to combine. It could be that Xbox Fusion is some sort of service or name for a collection of things that include the next Xbox, the Microsoft Surface, which is their iPad-like device, their movie delivering service, and all the other stuff that they've got cooking. It might be that Fusion is going to be their replacement for, you know, what was previously called Xbox Live, which is maybe a little, you know, limiting and just refers to the gaming console. So, anyway, Microsoft Fusion is really a thing, but we won't know what the name of it is for sure until we either see some really reliable reports or May 21st when they actually announce the next Xbox. Now, until then, it's just a really well-accepted rumor. But it's true, you know, it's real, but we're still waiting to see what the next Xbox is going to be called. While I'm talking about DRM, by the way, it's I learned this. EA, who put DRM, like always online requirements on SimCity, like I said earlier, SimCity and Assassin's Creed, their next game isn't going to require it. So it's like they've backed away from that idea and don't want to do it anymore. I found that really interesting. Like, I think the backlash over that got their attention, and I think that they also got rated for, I think, 2 or 3 years in a row. It might just be 2, the worst company in the world or something ridiculous like that. And you know, that worst company in the world thing, by the way, you gotta take it with a grain of salt. You know, on one, gamers are really passionate, so if they're mad at you, they're much more likely to vote and like make things like this happen. Whereas like if a company like Pepsi did something bad, I think by and large people would like not care or notice or do anything about it. So that's one thing. There are other companies that literally kill people, right? That are like dumping toxic waste into rivers and stuff like that. And then you've got EA, who has, you know, DRM that people don't like, or a bad ending to Mass Effect, and they're the worst company ever. So anyway, that just crossed my mind. And what I wanted to say was their next games are not going to require it, and that to me was a really cool thing. Like, all right, good. So they need to find a better way. Like, I'm cool with them not having their games pirated. That seems fair and just and okay to me. They just need a really good way to implement it. And, you know, that's what we're waiting for. I don't know what that way is. I forgive these developers. I know that it's a tough nut to crack. But it's not always online because you guys are just dropping the ball on that. Anyway, that's today's, I guess, mostly piracy and Xbox video. There'll be more coming. If you liked the video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe in the top right. Here's your outro.